Hello everyone, this is Miss Mara, and today we're going to talk a little bit about a more heavy topic. It's going to be a general encompassment of my thoughts on trauma and how that may relate to kink. But before we get into that, go ahead and click the subscribe button, turn on notifications so that you know when I have new content out. I post a new video or live stream every Saturday at 1 p.m. Pacific time. Recently, I have been restructuring how I want my channel to look, and so there are going to be some weeks where I just won't post anything because I don't want to rush anything, and also I'm waiting on a couple of collaborations that need a little bit more time. Here on my channel, if you're new, welcome. I post a lot about life coaching and education for alternative lifestyles, as well as Dom DIYs, my travel vlogs, and short films. So go check those playlists out after this video. You can follow more of me on my socials at Maradomina for daily news and juicy updates. I also have a monthly newsletter that tells you what my events are locally, as well as future travels. Okay, so trauma came up this week. I don't know if you're a believer in Mercury in retrograde. You can call him Mercury in Gatorade for all I care. And I was fortunate enough to have some light work done. It was in a group setting, but it was actually really powerful because it was releasing a lot of things that I had been working on and kind of negative thoughts in my life. Everybody has them, but it's up to you to decide what you want to do about it, right? And since I had this opportunity, I really focused on my breath and focused on what I wanted to channel and send out of my life, as well as protect myself from this craziness that is life right now. I know that the world is kind of in a chaotic place. It usually always is, but like now is even more than ever. And so I wanted to protect myself and ensure that I was extremely self-aware with where I am in my personal life. Funny enough, right after that session, I started my moon cycle. So that's good because now I feel like it's going to be cleansed out of me and I can start a new chapter. So why do I want to bring trauma up? I also have a video that I did with Dr. Susie that talks about trauma with an actual psychologist, and it's really cool that we can overlap on certain things that she uses for her methods with her patients and then I use with my submissives. I'm not saying that everybody has trauma, but most likely in the span of your life, you will go through something that is not going to be pleasant, that's going to be a teaching moment for you, and those will vary drastically in intensity from person to person. I also want a disclaimer that this is not a therapeutic video. This is just me talking about my personal experiences and how they have channeled into kink. If you do need to go see somebody and talk about certain things with them, I suggest you do go find a licensed therapist, and they are professionals and can help you with whatever you're working on. And you can do that in tandem with playing in kink. So trauma has come up a lot this year for me because it's mainly stemming from my childhood and familial traumas. And I'm not going to get into the details of what they are. For now, I'm kind of going to give an overall general talk about how I feel in my body these days and how I have transformed pain into pleasure and into discovering my sexuality. So for those who are new to my channel or new to who I am Miss Mara. I have been a professional for almost 12 years now. And my anniversary is actually on August 10, which is 2 days before my birthday, which is kind of crazy. And I have always known that I was different in a sense where I have like different preferences from normal people. So I already knew that gender doesn't mean anything to me, meaning that it's not important to my preferences and who I play with and who I'm attracted to. So I would consider myself pansexual as well as queer. And I also consider myself to be just kind of accepting of a lot of different ways of life. I am in kink, so that is an alternative lifestyle. And they call it a lifestyle because for some people, that means they integrate kink for scenes. They set aside time in their normal day-to-day life, and they are able to play and have this moment together of intimacy. And then other people, they live it 24/7. These are the two extremes. I'm kind of somewhere in the middle because I don't have a live-in submissive. I don't have high protocol every day of my life. I have it with some people that request that of me and have earned that time and energy. But for the most part, it has been dedicated to a certain duration that we set aside time and schedule. Hey, this is what we're going to do during this time period. And that's not to say that I stop being dominant with all of these people after the session stops. It means that that is the time that is allotted, that was contributed with monetary compensation or with my chosen lifestyle. When I started my career, I was actually a rope bottom for a very prestigious school of Kimbaku students. And I didn't know anything about rope except for a few basic ties, which I learned at a dungeon house that I started in. And so I was happy to be a rope bunny because I didn't know anything. And it actually opened my eyes to how it felt, how to tie, the different styles of tying, the art of just rope in general, what else you could do play-wise and kink-wise without making it too serious. It can be serious, it can be sexual, it can be just sensual. And on top of all of that, it also helped me be at peace with myself. A lot of people who are rope bunnies have had this like catharsis where I recently just taught a intro to rope, sensual rope 101, to a bunch of pole dancers, and I tied a couple of people and they said it was the best sleep that they've had for a very long time. And that was a testament to the power behind not just the art of rope, but the power behind the person who's actually rigging the rope too, and the connection that they have with their bottoms. And although there was no play, there was no DS dynamics or anything, it was just such a eye-opening experience, because every time I teach a class like that, I see a lot of smiling faces because it's a new skill. It's something that they could do with their intimate partners. It's sexy, it's exciting because you get into a momentum of knowledge. And when it's new, you're in this kind of almost honeymoon phase because you want to learn more about it, and you start this ball rolling and an avalanche kind of forms and you just want to learn more and more and more. And so there's a lot of excitement. And every time I teach a class, I continue to learn and sharpen my own skills too, because it makes me focus on like why I do it, and like, yeah, this is the correct way of tying, and oh yeah, there are all of these other options that I could do in order to add to the experience. Maybe simplicity is more powerful than being chaotic or trying to show off with a bunch of new knots, right? Maybe I only have one rope and I could do so much with that one rope if I really take the time to think about it and what my bottom needs. This video might be kind of all over the place just because I haven't scripted it, and I just wanted to have a casual one-on-one chat with you all. It's been a long time since I've done that, and I feel like there are no sponsors for this video and it's just us, and I'm able to free flow talk about this. So not everybody who has gone through trauma needs kink, and not everybody who is in kink has had trauma. But that's not to say that it hasn't happened. And some people find kink a very awesome world to create this safe space where they're allowing, first and foremost, themselves, right, to give themselves a permission to live a lifestyle where they can step-by-step heal something that has happened to them, or share an experience with a partner and let the partner know that this is a triggering thing for me and I need to work through it. Can you help me process it by giving me what I need? And those are really powerful things, because some people might have a simple way of this catharsis where they want to be cared for and nurtured for, and perhaps pain helps them physically release all of that hurt, anger, sadness, and the nurturing afterwards becomes like this reward for them. that's very beautiful. Some people aren't into pain at all, and some people just need to be nurtured, and they choose a partner who they feel safe and content with, and they are able to do that. Some people, it's just bondage. Some people like to just be cocooned or put into this state of like a fetal position, which is very much akin to like the womb, how you were first created in a cis female body, and before giving birth you were in your own bubble being, again, nourished by somebody else. And bondage is very much like that as well, where, you know, if you're fully encased or even using rope as an example, you can really feel yourself breathing against that material, and having that person being an extra layer on top of that, you know, facilitating acts with you or just embracing you, tightening things. Those can be very powerful sensations. And so people have to be very clear and communicate what they want out of this whole experience, and then also what triggers they may have, and if they're willing to work through those triggers. Some people want to get over their trauma. One of the ways to get through that is, you know, to go through it again in an older, more mature, more self-aware state. And sometimes you're not ready for it, but, you know, the willingness to want to do that will help propel to the next step of healing. And sometimes it doesn't go well, and that's okay. And you just have to be kind to yourself and be kind to your partner or partners, that they are there and wanting to help you, especially if they are good partners. There are going to be people who see triggers and traumas as a sign of weakness, and those are red flags, and you have to be careful about predators like that, because you don't want to live another trauma on top of what you had previously, right? So that's why negotiation is so important to do at the very beginning of any play. You know, when I was first playing for my own personal life, I didn't even play with the guy that I met. I went on a date with him. It was just food, drinks, and night out, and he made me feel very safe. I met him at a munch, so that was the first public setting. So that's 2 meetings, which included 1 date that I was very much like, take this slow, right? I want to see who this person is beforehand. The first play party that we ever went to, we kind of dressed up for it. We were very sexy in like suit and tie attire, and then collared shirt, tight mini skirt, heels, and we walked around. There was a collar and leash involved. It was very cute, but no play happened that night either. And so it was only on the 2nd or 3rd time that we were ever in a dungeon play party setting that I actually was like, okay, now we can play. And that's just my personal preference. That's just what I want for myself in order to be able to be comfortable with somebody and kind of get to know them as a person first, because that person ended up being my best friend too. And it's a very beautiful relationship in which I am able to feel like I can just give myself to that person and they can give all of themselves back to me as well. Very symbiotic, very mutual. And I feel like that's what kink should be. I'm not the person to try to tell people what they should or should not do, but in the grand scheme, I feel like that is what this world can allow all of us to experience. And so I'm gonna leave us with that note. Hopefully it is a lighter note. And like I mentioned, if there are specifics that you want me to dive into, personal experiences that I have had with submissives who have had specific issues without obviously revealing their identity and protecting their privacy, but using them as examples to hopefully connect with you and see if there's something that you could relate to, or if there are ways of playing that might help you in your healing process as well. So if you like this video, give it a thumbs up, share so that other people can learn a little bit about more on how trauma relates to kink and how kink can be a freeing and healing medium for adults. Subscribe and click the notification bell so that you know when I have new content out. I post a new video every Saturday at 1 p.m. or I live stream. Go ahead and follow my socials at Mara Domina, and until next time, keep it kinky, everyone. Bye.